The Uchiha clan massacre marked one of the darkest moments in all of Konoha history. In one night, the prodigy of the Uchiha clan, Itachi Uchiha, slaughtered his entire clan, leaving only his younger brother Sasuke alive. During the many years that followed, the Uchiha massacre was a memory that still resonated with many shinobi all around the Naruto-verse. However, what if this never happened? What if Itachi chose to disobey Danzo's orders and not massacre his clan? How would the Naruto story change? Would it be for better or would it be for worse? In today's Naruto What If, I plan to look at just that scenario. Now, in order for this to occur, there are a couple of moments we must look at to see when Itachi could have refused his mission to slaughter his clan. However, most importantly, we must look at what Konoha's plan was to deal with the Uchiha clan coup before the massacre took place. I've already made a video going in depth about what Danzo and the third Hokage's plan was, and I'll leave that in the end credit annotations for you all to check out at the end of the video if you want a more in-depth analysis of their plan. However, for the importance of this video, I will briefly go over the vaguest portions of their plan. First, it was stated in the second Itachi Shinden novel that the third Hokage had not ruled out Danzo's suggestion that both of these men lead a surprise attack against the Uchiha clan on the night before their coup was supposed to happen, attacking them when their guard was at their lowest and while everyone was asleep. Because Itachi did not know of this plan and did not know that it was on the table, outside of Danzo's very vague response that Sarutobi wouldn't hesitate to choose the village over the Uchiha clan, it remains very possible that this plan could indeed happen. Now that this has been discussed, we can go into the real meat of this what if, which is the direct fallout of Itachi choosing not to slaughter his clan. The two times Itachi could have refused the massacre are when he met Danzo and just before the massacre itself. In scenario 1, Itachi would tell Danzo that he could not bring himself to attack his clan, taking the lives of everyone including young babies who are still nursing on their mother's warm milk. If Itachi were to do this, it would lead to a battle that would highly favor Danzo, especially given their confined space. Itachi was already extremely on edge during that moment because he contemplated killing Danzo for killing Shisui, which was explained in the Naruto Shinden novel Midnight. It's also worth noting that Itachi would likely be surrounded by root ninja as well as having to fight Danzo himself. In the fight that ensued, Itachi could see himself overwhelmed in the fight, especially if he can't get out into a much more open space and use his environment to his advantage. Between the numerous root ninja and Danzo himself, who is in possession of Shisui's eyes, this means that the fight is stacked very highly against Itachi. What's even more is that Danzo could simply use Shisui's eye to control Itachi, thus making him go through with the massacre of his clan against his will. If this were to happen, Itachi could very well still slaughter all of the clan, but it's worth noting that it also remains possible that the things unfold exactly as Sasuke himself said that they should have when he confronted Itachi in the Uchiha hideout just before their final battle. Sasuke stated that even for as powerful as Itachi was, even he could not take out every single member of the Uchiha clan alone. If you believe that Itachi can kill everyone, then the massacre gets completed and Danzo eventually takes Itachi's eyes or continues to control him using Shisui's eye. If you believe that eventually the Uchiha could overpower Itachi, then the Uchiha coup would still happen, though it would be with way less numbers. If this were to happen, then eventually another village would invade Konoha. In scenario 2, Itachi would still go to the cliff where Shisui died, where he knew that Obito was lingering, and instead of confirming that he would indeed go through with the plan to slaughter the Uchiha, he would announce to the open air that he could not go through with it. Depending on what you believe Obito's reaction would be, things would change drastically. Obito could still very well attack Itachi right on the spot, potentially killing him since Itachi did not know the full extent of Obito's Kamui. However, I believe that Obito is greater served by respecting Itachi's decision and staying in the shadows. It's important to remember that Obito's big picture goal was the infinite Tsukiyomi, which means that he could benefit more from the massacre not happening and continuing to move in the shadows, which I would will discuss later on in the video. It's at this point that Itachi has two options. Option 1 is that he takes Sasuke and Izumi so they can leave the village and live a life in peace while being on the run. While this would make for a very cool fanfic, one that I could make if you guys ask, I don't think that this is the most likely scenario. Instead, I believe Itachi would have no choice but to go to his father and let him know of Danzo's plans. While there would be an argument to be made that Itachi could go to Sarutobi, telling him of Danzo's actions, it is important to note that the third Hokage's past behavior towards Danzo isn't the most helpful to Itachi in the situation. By this point in the story, the other two elders were firmly entrenched in Danzo's camp and moving aggressively against the Uchiha clan. While there is nothing concrete stating that the elders can overrule a Hokage, we've seen on more than one occasion under Tsunade's tenure where the three elders, which includes Danzo for the scenario, have overruled the Hokage. Given that the elders called the Uchiha coup unforgivable and backed Danzo, there would be no real room for Sarutobi to start negotiations back up with Fugaku. Most importantly, Itachi massacred the clan literally the night before the coup was supposed to happen, which means that at this point anything that needed to be said wouldn't have been listened to by the Uchiha. Upon hearing Itachi's words that Danzo enlisted him to massacre the clan for the sake of the village, it remains very possible that Fugaku could hold an emergency meeting despite knowing that the Anbu were spying on them, or he would outright begin the assault right then and there. An army of full bloodlusted Uchiha, most of whom have the Sharingan and knowledge of the infrastructure of the Hidden Leaf Village, would pose to be a very serious problem. One group, led by Fugaku, would likely storm the Hokage Tower and take Sarutobi hostage. Another group would likely kill the two elders. Another group would unsuccessfully attempt to take out Danzo, but due to his many Sharingan and having Shishui's eye, it remains possible that he could escape if he hadn't already fled the scene. While all of this is going on, another group would secure the village borders and entrances, killing whoever was posted on guard duty or placing them under a genjutsu. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to be including the filler scene, where in the Itachi novel adaptation in Naruto Shippuden, it was shown that Naruto would have been taken by the Uchiha and had the Kyuubi extracted by Fugaku so he can control the Kyuubi during the attack. The reason being is that the two Itachi novels hint very strongly that Fugaku has Mangekyo, but it is never confirmed in the scene in the novel that this actually takes place. However, I do believe that Naruto would be moved to a secure location since he is a Jinchuriki, and Jinchuriki are seen as military weapons in each of the villages. Due to this occurring at night, we could see a scenario where the Uchiha surround the main branches of the Konoha elite like the Hyuga clan and await orders from Fugaku. While it is very possible that a fight breaks out between the Uchiha and the Hyuga, which will be really epic to see, it is also possible that Hinata's father takes time to assess the situation before launching into action. It's at this point where Itachi's role becomes very critical. If Itachi were to go with his father to the Hokage Tower, Itachi would be placed in a very difficult situation. If a fight does break out between Sarutobi and Fugaku, then we could see a scenario where the third Hokage is placed under a genjutsu and forced to negotiate. If the third Hokage moved to attack, Itachi could activate his Mangekyo and place him under his Tsukuyomi.
Tsukuyomi. Ruin your nightmares for 72 hours.
This would give Itachi two options, though the second I believe is the least likely. Option 1 is if Itachi were to keep the third Hokage under the Tsukuyomi for the full 72 hours until he gave in to the demands to make Fugaku the fifth Hokage. Due to Sarutobi being so old, it is possible that his mind would be broken much faster than Kakashi's was in the manga. In scenario 2, Itachi could get carried away and overestimate the stamina of the third Hokage because he played placed him on such a high pedestal and kill him in the genjutsu just like he killed his lover Izumi. More than likely, Sarutobi gives into the demands to make Fugaku the 5th Hokage before entering into a comatose state. Since all of this would have happened in 1,000th of 1,000,000th of a second, any fights between the Uchiha and the other clans likely would not have occurred yet. However, the moment it is announced that Fugaku is now the 5th Hokage, it remains very possible that the civil war that both Obito and Danzo spoke of could indeed erupt. If this does indeed happen, it's in the aftermath of this that another village would likely attack, being the Hidden Cloud Village being the #1 candidates who have shown on more than one occasion to be hungry for military power and expansion. They would invade the Land of Fire. It's during the chaos of all of this that I believe that Obito would take the opportunity to capture Naruto, who is too young to fight back, and he would kill whatever Uchiha were guarding him. Given that he hadn't recruited Nagato yet, Obito wouldn't be able to seal the QB right away, but he could very well keep Naruto confined in his Kamui space while using a sealing tag to prevent him from using his or the QB's chakra. It's at this point that the series would take a very drastic shift. If the Uchiha managed to stave off the rebellion and the invasion of a village like the Hidden Cloud Village, what remains of Konoha will be ruled in a military police state as the village is being rebuilt. What remained of the Uchiha clan would strengthen what is left of the Konoha's military power, but with the clans like the Nara and the Hyuga clan likely leaving to join other villages, Konoha would be much weaker than it was before. It's also worth stating that if Kakashi hadn't been killed, Fugaku would have taken back Obito's eye, because in the Itachi novels it is stated more than once by a large number of Uchiha that they felt he was unworthy to have Obito's Sharingan. If this does indeed happen, Obito could very well slip back into the village and take back his eye wherever it happens to be locked up, which will be very important in the future of this video. If the Uchiha do indeed fall, then we could see a scenario where the Sharingan eyes are taken from whatever Uchiha refused to join the Cloud Village. If this does happen, this would make the Hidden Cloud Village, or whatever village that attacked immediately afterwards, more powerful than ever before. However, I believe this first scenario is the most likely one, where the Uchiha managed to fend off the invading village, though they would have heavy casualties and would suffer numerous defections. During the many years that followed, Obito would have to manufacture some other way to have Nagato join his cause, which he would still do since Nagato is crucial for his plan, since Nagato is in possession of Madara's Rinnegan. Meanwhile, Danzo would spend the many years forming an alliance and plotting to take back control of Konoha, perhaps even enlisting Orochimaru directly or finding a way to get all three legendary Sannin to help him, though I do believe that Orochimaru is the least likely. I do believe that Danzo would seize the opportunity to march on Konoha with his own army, which may include at least one of the legendary Sannin, with the most likely being Jiraiya, who would be looking to avenge the death of his teacher. Being the overly cautious man that he is, Danzo would likely form an alliance with another village. In my opinion, when you look at the Naruto verse, since the Hidden Sand Village was convinced by Orochimaru to attack the village, they would be the most likely to agree, though Danzo would have to concede something in return for their aid. With the Hidden Sand Village in alliance with them, Danzo would likely gather whatever former Konoha shinobi who escaped the Uchiha coup he could and his own root members and march on Konoha from one side. Meanwhile, the Hidden Sand Village would march on the other side, thereby forcing Fugaku to fight a war on two fronts. With Gaara being so young, too young to be deployed in battle, I could see a scenario where Obito, now in possession of both of his Sharingan eyes, would take the opportunity to infiltrate the Hidden Sand Village and take Gaara, with the likely outcome being that he gets sealed away. With Danzo leading the charge on one front and the 4th Kazekage on the other, the Hidden Leaf Village would likely be overtaken. If you go with the strong suggestion of the Itachi novels that Fugaku has his Mangekyo and the anime filler scene that directly confirms that Fugaku has Mangekyo, then the battle could be very intense. However, if you go with the other scenario, where since Fugaku's Mangekyo was never confirmed in the canon, then we could see a side battle that ends very relatively quickly, where either the 4th Kazekage or Danzo outright defeat Fugaku. In my opinion, due to Danzo's role in Shishui's death, I believe that it would be Itachi who would go to whatever side Danzo led his army on. At this point, Itachi would be filled with anger seeing Danzo, but he would also be very conflicted. It was Itachi's choice to not massacre the Uchiha clan that led to all of this happening, but staying in character for Itachi, he would wish to protect the village since he would likely be planning long term to take control from his father and mend the wounds caused by the coup. A fight between Danzo and Itachi comes down to 2 factors when you look at it very closely. Does Itachi catch Danzo in his Tsukiyomi first, or does Danzo place him under the Koto Matsukami, which is Shishui's Mangekyo Sharingan ability? If scenario 1 occurs, then Itachi wins the fight immediately. If scenario 2 occurs, then Itachi could be used to kill his subordinates and then be used to kill Fugaku. If we go with scenario 1, Itachi would place Danzo under his Genjutsu and force Danzo to use his Izanagi to rewrite reality. This would likely catch Itachi off guard if he knows about the Forbidden Uchiha ability, but if he doesn't know about it, then Danzo could place him under control, which he would likely do since he would view Itachi as too great of a threat to be left uneliminated. If Itachi does indeed know about Izanagi, which I believe he would know at this point in the story, then we could see him use the full power of Tsukiyomi on Danzo like he did to kill Izumi Uchiha by aging his brain to the point of death and cause him to die. It's at this point that Danzo's Sharingan arm needs to be discussed. We know from Naruto Gaiden that Orochimaru created Danzo's arm of Sharingan by using both Sharingan and Hashirama cells. However, we don't know when this occurred. It could have been during Orochimaru's time as a root ninja or directly afterwards. If this were the case, Itachi would have to battle Danzo constantly to keep him from using Shishui's eye. Though this would take a considerable amount of chakra, I believe that Itachi could take down Danzo regardless if he has multiple Sharingans at his disposal or not. This is where things get really tricky. Jiraiya could be on the side of the battlefield with Danzo, though tactically speaking, it makes more sense for Jiraiya to be on the side with the Kazekage to make sure that the Sand Village honor their trust with Danzo. If Danzo does indeed manage to get all of the Sannin to help him, then we could see Itachi fighting any one of the Sannin or perhaps all 3 at once. Due to Itachi having exhausted so much chakra fighting Danzo or outright killing him using the Tsukiyomi, Itachi would eventually fall in battle. However, I do believe that if this were to occur, if Orochimaru is on the battlefield, he would find a way to work with the other Sannin or work by himself to incapacitate Itachi with the intention of taking possession of his body later on. Regardless, fighting a 2-front war with the reduced military force would likely cause Fugaku's army to fall. It's at this point Danzo would go on to become the 6th Hokage of Konoha. With a familiar figure back in power, it is possible that more of the ninja who left the village as well as the citizens would return. Danzo would be seen as a hero, though it is very possible that the older generation still view Danzo in a negative light due to his previous actions. Upon returning to the village to find his son missing, the Kazekage might accuse Danzo of wrongdoing, but with no proof, there would be no room for open hostility. This is even more likely since Danzo gains nothing by betraying his former ally, especially when they were helping him in his attempt to retake Konoha. While rebuilding the village from yet another civil war, it is possible that Danzo works with the Sand Village in vain to learn who stole the Jinchuriki. However, given Obito's ability, there will be no trail or clues left for them to follow. If Itachi had indeed been incapacitated and not killed, then Orochimaru would likely escape in the aftermath of the war with Itachi's body in tow, where he would play a Bill Cosby inspired game of hide the snake before contemplating taking control of Itachi's body. The only reason I say contemplate is I do believe Orochimaru would keep Itachi in a comatose state, probably in some type of test tube, until he was sure that Itachi's body could awaken the Rinnegan by infusing Senju DNA into it. However, it does remain possible that Orochimaru could take over Itachi's body and simply create clones of him and use that as a way to keep switching in and out of Itachi's body until the jutsu wore out. Over the years, Obito would use Nagato to form the Akatsuki in secret, and Danzo would rebuild a hidden leaf village, with Danzo likely having killed all of the Uchiha for their part in the rebellion. This likely means that Sasuke is killed despite Sasuke's age, since Danzo would be fearful of him one day becoming an Avenger like he did in the main series. This means that the Uchiha clan would no longer exist except for the body of Itachi, now in possession of Orochimaru and Obito Uchiha himself. I don't see Orochimaru joining the Akatsuki now that he has Itachi's body, but I could see Obito moving to take action against Orochimaru, since he would be a wild card and viewed as too unpredictable. Even if Orochimaru never got access to Itachi's body, meaning that he never took part in Danzo's effort to take back Konoha, I could see Obito moving to eliminate Orochimaru at some point in the story, especially if he doesn't join the Akatsuki, since Orochimaru having knowledge of the group would compromise their existence. In my opinion, the Akatsuki would continue to run unchecked, since they would have the element of surprise on their side, and there wouldn't be the Naruto Jesus and his 10 Konoha ninja disciples to oppose them. After the Akatsuki captures all of the tailed beasts, Obito would betray Nagato, forcing him to revive Madara, and then the infinite Tsukuyomi would be casted. Well guys, that's it for my what if today. So as you guys can see, Itachi choosing to massacre the Uchiha clan actually turned out to be for the best. So what do you guys think? Let me know if you want to see something else in the future. Thank you so much for watching guys. Have an awesome day.